almost done, right? No, we're done at 12:15, so we have some time. That's great news. Good, good. All right. So this is the main method which executes, right? And this is the constructor method that gets invoked by main. So main makes a call into constructor. And those boxes here show local scope of local variables inside the constructor. Here it is. So this begins to execute. When this begins to execute, the code, the description, and price will be local variables inside our constructor. These are the local variables. This, and this are local variables inside our constructor. These local variables have nothing to do with an object. However, when we say this code, this description, and this price, what we say is that besides those three pieces, code, description, and price, that our constructor has, we also have another piece named this. It's given us for free. We don't have to create it. And this is a reference to our object in memory. And therefore, when we say this code, this description, this price, we're referring to these pieces inside of our object. So this transfer then finally takes place, that we do transfer our values to where they're supposed to belong as a result of these assignments, right? So we transfer those values just like this. And then constructor finishes, and what happens as a result when constructor is finished, this is completely deallocated and it's gone. And we're back in main, right? But now we have this car reference to now populate it with the values as we wanted the object. So now we have main, which can continue to execute, and at the same time we now fully constructed the product object, which now is constructed, allocated, and populated with data. Does that explain it? Does that answer your question? Because the question was, I guess, what this is. So the answer is that whenever we make a call, see, this is constructor is in the scope of class name product, right? We say we're trying to define a class. We would like to control how objects of this class are created. For that reason, we create a constructor. That's fine. On the other hand, constructor is just another method inside of our class. So the method can be invoked. In our case, instead of direct call to a method, we say new product, and the constructor is invoked for us. But once invoked, it just becomes another executable method inside of our class. When this happens, any method right here will have, place for its local variables that it creates. And as a gift in this scope, we have this. It's a keyword, but it's a keyword which is a reference to the memory where our class resides in computer memory. That's what this is. And therefore, when we say this, once we start using this in our code, we instantly refer to everything that we have in our class. Explicitly say, whenever this is used, it's a reference to an instance of our class in memory. Right? It's a physical box. It exists someplace in memory. And so if inside your class you can find it by doing by taking this approach. Right? So I guess that would be the explanation. Any other questions about any parts here that we're trying to discuss? Let's see. We also have a couple of slides dedicated to this topic, and you may also try to read some documentation about it. But let's see. Custom constructor. We say a better programming style for our constructor to name our parameters exactly as class data members, meaning code, right? Description, price, and to disambiguate between the local constructor parameters and objects member variables. We use the this keyword. The this keyword is applied in front of the data attributes or data fields. So this technique is very popular and very typical in the constructor business. Let me show you another use for the this keyword, which we may already mention someplace, but since we're trying to get through this presentation, let's do it quickly. What if I wanted to allow just a quick, what if we wanted to allow a default constructor? Say to our users, it's okay to use default constructor and construct products by default constructor. Product, XYZ, I don't know, meaningless. No parameters, right? In this case, my choice would be, perhaps, to do something like this. Just copy those lines, and code could be not available, description could be unknown, right? And the price could be $0 or whatever units of measurement we're using. So then this would be a possibility. But it does strike me to look as a duplication of code. Because look, those are very similar. The ideas in the custom constructor and default constructor, as far as I have it right here, are very, very similar. So to make it more consistent, there is this alternative. Use this as a use this with constructor syntax, and delegate the constructor, delegate the work to already existing constructor. I'm sorry, I meant to do this. NA, right? NA unknown. Unknown and 0.0. So instead of repeating the code like this, there is a way to use the this keyword that looks like a constructor call. And it does basically delegate the work to the specific constructor. So that as a result of this line right here, this constructor is invoked by the default constructor. So this syntax is very common in Java code, and you'll see it, you know, in a lot of Java code. The bottom line, of course, is that now we allow people to construct our product class objects by using specific constructor or default constructor. So it's just the syntactical convenience, and anytime you can, there is a chance for you to avoid duplicating the code, it's the right decision. Duplicating code is not a good thing. You want to code it once and reuse it whenever you can. Okay, what else? Constructor with one parameter, maybe doing some extra work, getting the rest of information from the database, and this is just an, you know, demo code that perhaps there is a product database, get product based on the code, get description from that particular gadget that is returned by the database, and then so we can populate everything from the database. I will not stay on this example for too long because at some point we're actually going to see this in our presentations. So just a summary of the this keyword, the possibilities that the this keyword gives us. Through the this keyword, and recall that the this keyword, if this is a method inside of our class, the this keyword provides access to our object in memory. So the this keyword can allow us to refer to an instance variable in memory. That's what we already did. You can call another constructor, right? That's what we already did. And you can call a method inside of your class. Let me save this segment.